All right, so now we're going to be solving equations with opposite operations of multiplying and dividing. Okay, so now you kind of see why with the division sign and the multiplication sign, I was trying to get you to stop using the x, because now x can look, it's a letter, it's a variable, it's not multiplication. So the problems are the same as what we already did. You draw your line and you box your variable. That's only up here. That's the only place the variable is. So what's happening to the variable? You're dividing by 3. So what is the opposite operation of 3? Is to multiply both sides by 3. So you're undoing it, because then these cancel and you get x equals 27. Now you can check that. 27 divided by 3 is 9. So it does check. Okay, and so it's a matter of, these again are ones that you could probably do in your head, but I would like you to show me the steps. So on the next one, you're boxing the k. What's happening to the k? You're dividing by 11. What's the opposite operation of dividing by 11? Is to multiply by 11, because then these 11s cancel. 11 divided by 11 is 1, and this side is 55. And now I can check it. So when I plug it in there, I would have 55 divided by 11. Is that 5? Check. That checked. Okay. So now we're doing this next one. When I'm dividing by 6, what's the opposite operation of dividing by 6? Is to times by a negative. You got to leave that negative there, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive one. Okay, so these cancel. And now when I take two numbers that have different signs and I multiply them, my answer is a negative. Okay, and then this last one here for this, I drop this, I box my variable. What's happening to my variable? I'm dividing by 8. So what's the opposite operation of dividing by 8? Is timesing, because then those cancel, and 8 times a negative 2 is a negative 16. I can check that by plugging it in. Negative 16 divided by 8 is, signs are different, is a negative 2. Okay, I forgot to check this one over here, sorry. Negative 42 divided by a negative 6, a negative divided by a negative is a positive 7. So that does check, these both check. Okay, so you can solve equations by, if it's dividing, you're going to multiply. Okay, so on the next one, I'm going to do the opposite operation. So again, I'm boxing my variable. It's right there. What is the opposite operation of multiplying by 6? Because when it's next to it, it's saying you times. So that's saying 6 times y. There's no sign there. So when there is no sign, you're going to assume that it's multiplication. So 6 times y is, how would I undo timesing by 6? I'm going to divide both sides by 6, because 6 divided by 6 is 1, and I get y equals 4. Okay? So on this next one, I'm drawing my line, I'm boxing my variable. What am I doing to f? I'm doubling it. I'm timesing it by 2. So I'm going to undo it by dividing by 2, and 15 equals, these 2's cancel, f. I can check it by plugging it back in. 2 times 15 equals 30. Yep, check. Okay, here's my variable, here's my line. What am I doing to the variable? I'm timesing by 8. How do you get rid of multiplying by 8? Opposite operation is to divide. These cancel, and n equals a negative 1. If I plug that back up in there, I'm saying 8 times a negative 1. Well, that's 8, and the signs are different, so it's a negative 8, which is what it should be, so check. Okay, here I box my variable, I draw my line. I'm timesing by a negative 7, so I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 7, because then those cancel. Oops, sorry, P. Okay, so 63 divided by 7 is 9, but your signs are different, so your answer is a negative 9. Okay, if I put that back into this, I'm saying a negative 7 times a negative 9. Well, a negative times a negative is a positive 63. Okay. All right, so what I would like you to do right now, jump to page 4. I would like you to do these 8 questions. I would like you to pause the video and do those 8 questions. So here's my variable. I'm multiplying by 3. How do I get rid of multiplying by a -3? I divide. So my answer is 9. Okay. Here I'm dividing by 2. So the opposite operation is to times by 2, because then those cancel. I always write my Z with a line through it because some people say my 2's look like Z's. We use Z's a lot in high school. So -12 times 2 is a -24. Okay, and I'm not checking them because you should have checked them. On this one, I'm dividing, boxing, drawing my line. I'm dividing, so I'm going to times by a -5 on both sides. Because if you do it to one side, you have to do it to the other side. So a negative and a negative is a positive. Okay, so here I'm timesing by a -9, so I'm going to divide by a -9. And my answer is a positive by a negative is a -4. On this one, I'm dividing by a -6, so the opposite operation is to times by a -6. Uh-oh, I don't know what that is. 84. Negative and a negative, it's a positive 84. Okay. Here I'm timesing by 5, so the opposite operation is to divide by 5, and P equals 8. Here I'm timesing by 2, so the opposite operation is to divide by 2. Sorry, box that. And so my answer is a -17. Here I'm timesing by 4, dividing by 4. I'm going to times both sides by 4 because that's legal as long as you do it on both sides. And my answer is a -44. Okay, so those are my answers to these. If you're having problems, then please, please, please let me know. Okay, if these are too hard for you, it's okay to say, whoa, we got to go backwards and spend more time. But if you got it, you got it. All right, I do want to look at these bottom ones because there's a couple like this. So it's saying that it's already solved, and so they want you to see if it's right. So if I put 12 in to the problem, I'm saying 7 times 12. Well, 7 times 12, if I multiply that out, is 84. So this, yes, is right. Okay. But if I look at the next one and I put 56 into the problem, right?